Okay, this is a mistake I used to make every time I flew over a lake or a landmark, and it's probably a mistake you've made as well. I'd get my drone up in the air, I'd get a nice wide shot, and then I'd just keep getting nice wide shots forever. And then later on when I'm doing the edit, it just looks like a bunch of pretty shots, and they may be great shots, but there is no feeling behind it. Today I'm going to show you how to take your footage up a notch, and we're going to film it like a movie using a simple system that I've called Scale. 5 easy steps, and here's the key. I'm not going to tell you all the steps up front because I want you to feel how it builds, just like as if we were building a scene in a film. And if you follow along with this, you'll come home with footage that's easy to edit because you have lots of choices of shots, and it will look like it belongs in a film. No matter what drone you use, it works with any drone. G'day friends, I've been shooting professionally for years, and I've learnt the hard way that cinematic footage isn't about having the newest drone, it's about having a plan. So let's jump straight into it. What is the scale system? Well, S stands for start wide. And this is usually the first shot. We've established the world, and this is where the viewer goes, oh, okay, we're at a lake. And how to shoot it is to go higher than you think you'll need, but not so high that the lake turns into a tiny speck. You still want the lake to be the main part of the subject here. And you need to film multiple different wide angles here, so pick a clean subject like a shoreline, a leading line, a jetty, a boat ramp, a little island, anything that gives the frame structure. In this case, I've got a top-down shot of the road on the edge of the lake. And all you have to do is to keep your movement simple, slow push forward, slow pull back, or a gentle rise. You can also do a top-down shot, as I said, or a pan if that suits your style. The trick here is to get 3 or 4 shots to choose from. And also don't forget that being down low can still be a wide shot as long as you can see a wide part of the scene. Now, lakes have reflections and edge lines. If you can line up a shoreline curve or a jetty pointing into a frame, if there is one, it instantly looks more cinematic. The common mistake here is that people treat the wide shot like it's a tour. Don't do that. In this case, a wide shot is mainly there to establish the world that the story is in. So all clips should be around 6 to 10 seconds each, and there should be a clean movement. So 1 movement per shot, not doing this. That way you've got plenty to choose from when you need to cut it down later. Okay, step 2, C stands for come in long, the long shot. Now we bring the viewer closer, and this is where we introduce the thing that we're watching without being right on top of it, of course. Usually a long shot is where the main subject of your film fills the frame. So in this case, it's my body, so I'm filling the frame. And how to pick your subject at a lake is a lone person on a jetty or at the edge of the rocks here like I am. You could shoot a canoe moving across the water, a fisherman's silhouette, a small boat, a column of reeds and wind ripples, pretty much anything. Just fill the frame with your subject, and that will be the long shot. You can even use a tree line reflection if there's no people, but in this case, it's just me. And how to fly this shot? Well, you can move towards the subject or try moving sideways. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you have your subject in the main part of the frame. And what's good about this is if you do a sideways movement plus background parallax is what makes footage feel professional. And this is what a parallax shot looks like. It's where the background and your subject appears to be moving at different speeds. And if you can, keep the subject locked in 1/3 of the frame, if you can. So either the left or the right of the frame. And you will make heaps of mistakes like these ones here. The trick is to film it over and over again from many different angles. And just a quick note, my footage is bland because it's shot in D-Log profile, which is a flat profile that DJI drones use to retain as much information in the highlights and the shadows, so you can get much better looking final product in color correction. If you're using the Potensic Atom 2 drone, for instance, their equivalent is called P-Log. Okay, step 3 stands for approach the medium shot. So this is the medium shot. Okay, now we're close enough that the viewer feels like they're with the subject, not just watching from a distance. So if you were filming a person, like in this case, you would be filming from the waist up. So whatever your subject is, just get in a little bit closer. And what changes here is your subject should start to dominate the frame. As I said, in this case, it's from the waist up on a person. But if you were filming something else, you would make that more prominent in the frame. The background is still there, but it's now supporting the subject. It's not competing with it. And the best move for a medium shot like this, at a lake especially, is a slow orbit, is just the money shot here. It's brilliant. But just keep it subtle, small orbit, slow speed, smooth altitude. Pro framing tip here as well is keep the horizon level. It looks much better. And a common mistake that people do is they orbit too wide or too fast, like this shot here, and that turns into a drone flexing instead of a cinema shot. Unless your movie that you're trying to produce actually calls for a fast orbit, that's different. Step number 4 stands for lock detail close. This is the close-up shot. And here's where people think drones can't do movie shots, but they absolutely can. In this case, the close-up is of my shoulders and my head, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a tree like this, or rocks, like this. Anything that fills the frame and is nice and tight. If there was a boat on the water, it could be a paddle cutting through the water. As I said before, slow movements are the key here. The movement should feel like that the camera operator is just breathing into a scene. It sounds stupid, but that's kind of what it is. And if this shot looks boring, it's usually because nothing is close enough to the camera. Put something in the foreground, maybe a rock edge. One of my favorite things to do is to shoot through things, have something in the foreground that you move past. Step number 5, E stands for extreme close-up. This is the shot that makes your edit feel like a film. It's short, it's specific, and it gives your sequence rhythm. If you're on a lake like I am here, you could do tight shots of water patterns if the wind was blowing or if water was flowing over rocks. This lake's quite still, so I couldn't do that, but you could do foam or tiny waves licking the shoreline, any of that kind of stuff. You could do a fishing line tensioning, sun sparkle on ripples, hands tying a knot if you have someone else there with you, a real close-up shot of a paddle blade entering water if you're filming someone else. Pretty much anything that is nice and tight and close. Now in this case we're just filming my eyes, but you could do pretty much anything. If you're using an Air 3S drone like I'm using here, you have the benefit of having that extra lens you can use to zoom in without having to get the drone closer to your subject. Now if you have a drone that is a fixed single lens, you won't be able to do extreme close-ups in camera, as you will most likely fly into your subject. But what you can do is film as close as you can get in 4K and then zoom it in later when editing to get closer. And how to fly these scenes is pretty touchy. Basically, barely moving is the key because you're so close, the movements feel bigger. Because you're so zoomed in, the movements will feel much bigger than they are. And you can see here I move too fast and it looks horrible. And the reason all these shots work is simple. You're not collecting clips, you're collecting coverage. The more coverage and different angles you have to tell a story, the more choices you have when you do the edit. And to give you an idea, this is a simple edit that starts with wide shots and then brings you into the scene. And here's the easiest way to cut this like a movie scene. You start off with a wide for 2 to 3 seconds, then a long for 2 to 3 seconds, then the medium shot for 2 to 3 seconds, then a close-up for a couple of seconds, and then the extreme close-up for a couple of seconds. And then you can repeat or finish with another wide, usually a wide that is pulling away so it feels like the viewer is now leaving the scene. But if you want to get more of an interesting story type scene, you can mix and match them any way you want to make your story flow. The bonus here is because you have so much coverage, you have so much more you can do in the edit, so your scene can look like this. And this also is a very simple edit. It's just a different arrangement of the scenes. Now you have a clear plan on how to film your footage. You'll need the fastest beginner shortcut to make your drone footage look even better. So watch 6 tips on how to get good drone footage from any drone. It's right here. Thanks for watching.